Another technique that is very important to the art of comic books, and one that may be less familiar than those already mentioned, is known as spotting blacks. It's not an easy concept to explain, but it's a skill that an artist must have in order to excel. Since most comics rely heavily on the use of black ink, it's important to know where to apply the ink and where a page should be left blank. This relates to the concept of negative and positive space. But the important aspect of spotting blacks is to draw the reader's eye to the center of interest in a given panel, as well as to keep the reader's eye flowing naturally from one point to the next in a logical progression through the panel as well as over the whole page. Comic books as a storytelling medium must be foremost in the artist's mind, and the use of spotting blacks is integral in keeping the reader engaged. The exact mechanics of the technique vary from case to case, whether the artist is framing the center of interest, using elements to sort of sweep the eye through the panel or page, having elements radiate outward from a focal point, or one of any number of other methods. Here are some examples from How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. In this first example, heavy black inks are used on the building to draw attention to the open space above it and the leaping figure of Spider-Man inhabiting that space. The police officers on the ground are inked with enough black to balance out the building and keep the panel from looking lopsided. The second example below shows how blacks can be used to lead the reader's eye comfortably around a panel, first to the speaker in the background, and then towards the man in the foreground who is inked heavily. Again, smaller black areas are used to balance the panel. Here, a stark contrast is used to emphasize the man's terror. The heavy black shadow literally engulfs him. For all the advantages of freedom the comic book form provides, it does have several drawbacks. Perhaps the most profound of these is the absence of sound. Sound effects can certainly be used, but these are essentially visual components that are designed to emulate auditory elements. No matter what techniques a comic book letterer uses to convey someone's tone of voice or the intensity of an explosion, the way a comic book sounds will always be determined in the reader's head. That's not to say that the letterer has no control over that, though. The letterer is the person who actually writes or types the words and sound effects on the page and draws all the various word containers, such as word and thought balloons and caption boxes. It is his responsibility to make the comics sound right.